Hello everyone and welcome back to Indie Gamers. This is the seventh part of the case. Now let's speak with everybody over here.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
He's asking the time when they meet him, when Albert met him, but I don't know the exact time of his death. Let's speak to Albert and check what he has to say.
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious? Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysa something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. These Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh, my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
All right. Now let's go and speak to Miss White and see what she has to say about it.
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house. I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Oh, certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
Watson is quite excited to perform the experiment, I think. Now let's check what we have to do here.
No, it wasn't like that.
Alright, so we have to reenact the incidents. What exactly happened? So this is the first It's done perfectly.
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system.
Alright, so let's do that. So now we have to go to the ventilation system, which is in the other end of this garden. So let's go there. So here we are near the ventilation system. Let's see what we have to do over here.
I need to visit the colonial collection room to see how those caterpillars dropped onto the deadly plants.
Great. Now again we have to go to the colonial collection room. Oops, sorry, it is at the other end.
The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
Okay, so this is the ventilation duct which was used to let's go to the ventilation system again. Alright, so there is something we have to do with the Sherlock special senses.
Before starting the engine, I need to enable the power supply. The power is
Silly
on.
of me.
The engine cannot be started whilst the transmission is active. The engine has started. The ventilation system is working.
Perfect. Now
A water
let's
tank.
use the Sherlock senses and see where the ventilation duct follows, and we'll also follow it. So it goes in this room first. Oh, there is a switch.
Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one. From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room.
Alright, now let's follow the ventilation duct again. It is in this room. Oh, here is a switch as well.
Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace will it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the colonial collection room.
Right, Watson. Now it's a deduction, so let's do that. Only one clue? Alright. So what is our next task? Okay, so we have to go ahead and speak with that guru in the Divine Syndicate as well, I think. So let's visit Divine Syndicate. He doesn't have any work, I think so. He's doing the same exercise again and again whenever we visit here. Let's speak with him.
Do you have friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not worthy there.
Okay.
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search? Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Okay, so it's deduction now. So let's check what clues we have. Oh, there are 2 options. It is not matching, it is giving it different. So I'll select the other option. Oh, finally we got a connection. So Hamish is guilty. All right.
Let's go to Scotland Yard.
Okay, we will go to Scotland Yard in our next video. We request you to subscribe to our channel, like it or share it on Facebook or Twitter, or leave us a comment. Till then, bye bye.